Hi, Team 7. So I want to start by saying great work. As you could see, Jeff is very interested in the idea of an app, and I thought he gave a lot of helpful feedback, and now I'm going to give you a bit of feedback myself. So to begin with, I want to start with your problem statement. How can Ludique use technology to increase revenues? I thought that was really good to focus on technology. I did have some questions around how that focus on technology linked to your final option around creating a curriculum. And it seemed like in saying you're going to create a curriculum and that you're going to, I guess, even if it was online, that you would be training stylists, it seemed to be a bit different than the other two ideas. And that just led me to question the focus. It's harder to come to precise criteria when you're measuring, assessing ideas that are very diverse from each other. And so I'm wondering if perhaps you would want to further revise your problem statement to make clear that this is about either about going, how can Ludique use technology to better serve its clients, in which case then two of your ideas would better fit, or whether in fact you're looking at or whether in fact you're looking at sort of starting a school. If you're looking at starting a school and training stylists, it might be better to look at that as a thing unto itself. You know, how might Jeff train stylists? Because it didn't seem to me that your curriculum idea was, you can even see it here, it was the lowest rated. And so it didn't seem that it had the same strength of the other ideas. So what I'm trying to say here, sorry, it's a bit circuitous, is that the curriculum idea, you put three ideas forward. One of them, I wasn't sure how it responded to your problem statement, and two, it didn't seem as robust as the other two. And so I'm wondering that if you wanted to explore curriculum, whether that needs to be something in itself. How might Jeff develop a curriculum so you could then actually take the time to make those ideas more robust? I hope that makes sense. If it's confusing, let me know. So, okay. So I thought that you did a really good job of being tight in your framing of the problem. So despite what I said about how you could be a bit more focused about whether you want technology to access clients or to access staff, nonetheless, in your rationale, you showed that people are using the internet to buy things more and more, which again points to the fact that your dominant focus seemed to be on how might Jeff access more clients using technology. Okay, so then you came up with CAD for fashion, and so again, great idea. And Jeff's questions are of course one level down, which is, yeah, it's a great idea, but could it be further developed to sort of make it more, how would he actually set about doing this? I want to sort of address this by looking at your criteria and your decision matrix. So I'm looking at this page of your document, your decision matrix. And what I'm seeing is, so will it grow Ludique's revenues? That's a good question. Is it in line with personal values? I want to come back to that one. Can they afford it? That's what I'm getting from economically feasible. So can they afford it, and will it grow revenues? Great. And will it be novel? Allows time to work does it allow him time to work on the business instead of in the business? Again, good criterion. So I want to start by saying that, okay, so the blog is more economically feasible, but it's not as strong in allowing time and growing revenues. Okay. I think you still need to tweak your criteria, and here's why. One is, it seems like technological feasibility needs to be in here somewhere. So Jeff's main questions were, does the technology even exist for this? You know, and I went onto your links, I saw the CAD for the house design. I wasn't able to access the other link. I tried it in two different browsers, which seemed to be an app or some kind of software around fashion, but I wasn't able to access it. But it would seem that this is a big question: is technological feasibility is important in terms of this suggestion. The other thing is, what I noticed for the one, is it in line with Jeff's personal values: community, love for clients, help wide range of people. I noticed that you rated these all the same. And my question then becomes, is that a relevant criterion for making a decision? Your goal here is to make a decision between these three options, and you have something that they're all in line with Jeff's values. So maybe you don't need that criterion. However, I think you do need a criterion around something around the integrity of the brand or of customer experience. So one of Jeff's main concerns with your proposal was, well, is there going to be a stylist there? Who's that stylist going to be? Is this just going to be some kind of algorithm that runs itself? And so his concern was, how does this app run while maintaining a commitment to Ludique as this high-touch personal brand, right? And so it seems that something around alignment with brand or quality or something like that has to be assessed within this matrix. Again, let me know if anything I'm saying here doesn't make sense. So let me just go through. I didn't have a lot of comments for the rest of your, it looked really good. From the outside, your process looks like it was really strong, so I'll be curious to read about how it felt from the inside. It seemed very logical, very thorough. I like that you maintained, I think you actually have a choice in terms of your clarification stage. I think you have two separate focuses that overlap, but that when you do your next iteration, you might choose to sort of double down on one of them. So one is around technology. That's one way you frame the problem, but the other is, as expressed in your BHAG, around, accessing a mass audience. And those overlap, but they're not the same. And I think you really need to sort of be very clear about which one of those you're committing to up front. When I look at your exploring ideas, your forced connections, I just want to sort of, for your own learning, talk about this. I'm not sure how meaningful this exercise was for you, so please write about it. So when I look at the light bulb, and I'm not saying that my idea is a good one, I just want to give you an idea of how forced connections would work in this circumstance. So I look at a light bulb and immediately I think a light bulb is not a useful product by itself. A light bulb needs like light switches, light fixtures, right? To be an amazing invention, it needed a whole system, which also makes me think, of course, of the iPod and music and how it needs iTunes, and that there's a whole ecosystem that makes it work. Which would then perhaps lead me to an idea for Jeff. How does Jeff bring in a whole ecosystem around fashion in terms of adding, when he brings in software and an app, as opposed to just thinking about this one thing about how does he serve clients through styling. So that would lead me to how might Jeff how might Ludique become the iTunes of the styling world. So again, I'm not saying that's a great idea. I'm just trying to show, I know that forced connections can be tricky to work with, so I'm just trying to show how it would work. So develop a website and blog, develop software and app, and then, as I said, I think the curriculum one's a bit weaker than the other two. That's it. I also think in terms of the criteria that you're sort of making a decision, like there's, at the core, there seems to be a decision around reach and scalability versus quality and personalizing. And as is going on, right, in education, as is going on in any area that's embracing technology. And I think that needs to be reflected in your analysis and in your choice of criteria. So in all, I really appreciate the strong focus that you had. I'd be curious about how you came to it. How did you seem to have converged very well. How did that happen? What was the experience like from your perspective? I am very aware that this was an all-male team. That might not be relevant. I'm aware of it because of the nature of the case, which, as we saw online the first day I introduced it, the women in the class were all typing online like, oh, I'll have to take an ethnographic research trip to the mall. And so I don't want to feed into stereotypes. On the other hand, if it was relevant that you were an all-male team, you can write about that in your paper. All right, thanks for the great work, and I look forward to reading more.